Hello everyone, this is Kyle at Mill Street Gardens, and today I'm weeding out one of our garden beds, so I figured I'd share some of my weeding tips with you. So here's our weedy bed right here. I actually started weeding it a little bit, so it looked a lot worse than this. But there's still lots of weeds to pull in here. And it's a full sun bed, but right now it's getting shaded by this structure right here. So tip number one is if you can kind of like know or learn about the weeds a little bit, figure out which ones are perennials, because those are the ones that you really want to spend your time and energy digging up. So for example, this dandelion right here, this big boy, as well as being potentially dinner, he's perennial. So he's a good one to get a digger in there and try to get up all that root. So, he had kind of a small root for a dandelion. So the reason why you want to get the perennial ones dug out is because even though you chop off the tops, they'll come back if you don't get rid of the whole root. Alright, right next to that dandelion, we have one called a biennial. So this has a 2-year life cycle. So the first year it usually grows like a mound of foliage at the base of the plant, which this one's a bad example because it's growing a little weird. And then the second year it does this bloom cycle. So that brings me to the point where you should pull your weeds before they go to seed, because if they don't seed, then they can't spread. I obviously don't know what the life cycle of all these weeds are down here, but let's just say for example's sake that these are annual weeds. So weeds that just kind of come up, do their thing, flower, and then die. If you use the hoe on them and go like this, chances are they won't come back. One important thing is once you disturb the soil, you gotta make sure that you put the mulch back on top of it. So if you already have mulch in your bed, like over here, you'd switch the reeds like this and then pour the mulch back on top of it. And the reason why is if you have bare soil, you're gonna have weeds popping up. Which brings me to my next point over here. See all these little tiny seedlings? Those are like weeds popping up, or it might be from some plants. Like we have this plant right here. So those could be little baby beard tongues, which sometimes you might want, sometimes you don't want. In this case, I don't want them. So I'm just going like this, and when you catch weeds in this stage and go like that, chances are after you disrupt them, they're not going to come back. And if you look really closely at your garden, you have bare soil. I already scritched them over here. I was scritching them earlier. You can probably find spots where there's just tons of little tiny seedlings coming up. And if you intervene at that point, then you won't have a ton of big weeds to fall. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and scritch the rest of this because I see little guys popping up everywhere. And then since this is due for some mulch, I'm going to put some mulch on the bed. Another tip that I have is if the weed doesn't have any blooms on it, and this is a big weed, you pull it out. Look at that, look at those roots. This is definitely a perennial weed. Looks like a geranium of some sort. That'd be my guess. I'm not really sure what it is. But since it has no flowers on it, you can just, if you don't mind what it looks like, it's going to turn brown in a couple of days, I'm sure, and kind of blend in. Or you can just mulch over it. You can just leave them on top of the soil, and then you get free mulch. So mulching with weeds. However, if those weeds have seed pods on them, then you'll be seeding your garden with weed seeds. Once you've finally spent some time getting a bed weed free and nicely mulched, all you really got to do during the season is come out once every week or so and just see if there's any weeds that's popped up. So a bed might become like a 10 or 15 minute project every couple of weeks, instead of a couple hour project trying to get it back into order. I will definitely say that I am guilty of letting the weeds get out of control sometimes, so it is what it is. Sometimes we just get too busy. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the description below. Thank you. Here's a PS. This is what our garden looks like now that it's mulched and weeded. It's looking good.